Over to our JD Conti, who has the latest for us, and an update for the Tyler mayoral race. Hi, JD.
Hi. Well, today is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. I did not forget that.
I know.
That's very important to point
I
out.
actually opened up Disney for the first time yesterday, and I saw that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that we're already in the month of May. Isn't that crazy?
It's pretty crazy. I feel like yesterday I was at a New Year's Eve party.
Oh, yeah, I know. Time flies. But
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, speaking of time flying, though, this race came up a lot quicker.
Oh, my goodness.
And I know a lot of folks, too, they were just like, oh, my gosh, this came up so quickly.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
There's still a runoff right now.
Yes.
So what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, when you have 4 candidates in a race, statistically, it's not shocking that it went to a runoff. Mr. Nix was in first, and then it was very close between second and third. And I believe Mr. Haney beat out Mr. Wynn by just a little bit over 100 votes. So when you have these local elections, even in a decent sized city like Tyler, every vote matters, and these candidates have their differences. But when I talked to them today, both of them were like, we need to get our people out to vote. We need to get Tylerites out to vote because, you pick up your phone, and when you call DC, nobody's picking up. You pick up the phone and call somebody in your city hall, whether it's in Tyler, Longview, Nacogdoches, somebody's going to pick up the phone. And that's why these local elections are important, When you wake up in the morning, you use your water, you turn on your power, those are the people that we're electing now.
Right, yeah.
And that's why these elections are so important, whether it's here in Tyler or here in Longview. They had another one on Saturday. They're important. So we talked to Mr. Nix and Mr. Haney again today. Just got their initial reactions on their secondary reactions. We talked to them on Saturday as well. Just how they're feeling today. We also did a bit of a deeper dive into the issues today. Obviously, we've got a bit of a time gap until the June 13th election, and early voting is going to be June 2nd through the 9th. So they're still figuring out some of the details and the timing on those days, I'm told. But June 2nd through the 9th, according to the Texas Secretary of State, and then June 13th, which I believe is a Saturday, will be election day. So we talked to Mr. Haney and Mr. Nix on what they want their campaigns to look like and what they want the city of Tyler to look like as their mayor.
All right, well, let's take a look and a listen.
Time to decompress. How are you feeling after the runoff and everything?
I feel great, feel excited. We have a lot of positive energy, a lot of great feedback, a lot of momentum going forward. And so we've hit the ground running. We haven't stopped. We haven't taken our foot off the pedal. We're going forward. And we're excited to see this come to fruition on June 13th.
June 13th, you're running for mayor still? Why are you running?
Yeah, I am still running for mayor, yes. And it's the same reasonings that we've had since this campaign started, to continue to make Tyler the best place to live in the state of Texas. We have a lot of good going here. We have a lot of good momentum, a lot of positivity, and we want to see that continued.
What do you think the biggest issue facing our city is?
For me, my campaign's focused on attracting new businesses here to town, creating new jobs, opportunities for new employees here in town, and retaining that talent. We want to, at the end of the day, grow our sales tax base because that's how we fund a lot of the projects that we do. And so for us, I think that's one of our main focuses.
Let's talk about traffic. And there's a lot of Tyler's growing, our roads are growing. What are your plans to some of the traffic on Broadway has actually gotten better, right?
Absolutely.
What are your summer plans for that?
So traffic, I tell people it's a good thing that we have traffic because I would hate for it to be the other way around where we don't have traffic here. If there isn't traffic, nobody's shopping here, nobody's eating here, nobody's coming to visit Tyler. And so looking at it from the positive, we have people wanting to come here, wanting to shop here, wanting to visit our tourist attractions and wanting to eat here. So that's a good issue to have at the end of the day. But there are things that we can do. I think we need to increase our north-south alternatives where we can look to move traffic east of Broadway by extending Copeland Road down south to Cumberland. And even a little further east, getting more of that Broadway traffic over to the Biloxi corridor. On the west side of Broadway, we can look at extending a north-south corridor down to Cumberland, where we can alleviate some of that traffic on Broadway in front of Walmart, Target, and that area to hopefully get some of that traffic into the backside of that shopping center.
Let's talk about water. We get reports all the time about water bills. Also, a lot of people don't talk about the water plants. You guys on council have been working a lot to get the plants and all those problems offline. Talk to me about that and your plan to fix all this stuff as mayor?
Absolutely. So water is a very critical issue that we have, not just in Tyler, but across the entire state of Texas. We are very fortunate that we have two water sources here, Lake Palestine and Lake Tyler. And we want to continue to ensure that we have those sources for decades and generations to come. As far as what you alluded to regarding our water treatment facilities here in town, we have two of them, the Lake Palestine Water Treatment Facility plant on the west side of town, over there just west of Fresh in the Crossing neighborhood. And then on the east side of town, we have the Lake Tyler Water Treatment Plant over near Golden Road, Golden Park, that area. And my plan and what I want to focus on is ensuring that we keep up to date with routine maintenance so we don't have catastrophic failures. So we're not left in a bind where we have to make an important decision at midnight that we hadn't planned for, that we hadn't accounted for. And so if we're able to keep up with a lot of that routine maintenance, keep our plants, keep the equipment in tip-top shape, that prevents a lot of long-term catastrophic failures.
What about the water bills? You know, a lot of people come to us and like, why is my water bill so high? And there's these fees. Can you kind of explain for people? And if you're a mayor, is there anything you would do differently in that?
So we have recently, I think in the past year, is when we first started implementing that change. We went from a declining rate structure where the more water you used, the less you had to pay for it per gallon, to now a uniform rate. And so no matter how much water you use, it's the same rate. And so it promotes conservation, it promotes water efficiency, and everybody's paying the same amount for that water usage. I think at the end of the day, that's going to help. People will be able to accurately track if they're using a certain amount of water, then they know what their water bill is going to be at the end of the day. You also notice that on the water bill, it's now been changed to a utility bill because not only is the water rate on the bill, but the solid waste rate is on the bill. You also have your environmental compliance fee on the bill and your other regulatory compliance fees on there, like the consent decree project that we're going in. We're in year 9 of that project. And that was something that the federal government mandated that we do, fix our sewer system, bring our sewer system up to date, because that had been neglected for so long. And now we are addressing those issues, bringing those into compliance. And we're going to have the best sewer system, if not in the state of Texas, in the entire country.
So you can't help but notice it in your office, right? And you talk about growth all the time. How do we make sure that Tyler grows, but it stays Tyler?
Absolutely. So we can't forget what makes Tyler unique and what makes Tyler one of the best places to live. As you know, we've recently been ranked the second best place to live in the state of Texas. And so we can't forget that quality of life aspect. But at the same time, that quality of life aspect attracts new people to Tyler, attracts new businesses, attracts new employees. And so it's a great thing that we have a high quality of life here and that we are growing. But at the same time, you're right. We don't want to become a concrete jungle. We don't want to become a Dallas or a Houston or an Austin. And we're going to keep being Tyler, whether we continue to grow on the north side, on the east side, on the west side, or on the south side. We're going to continue to be Tyler. But we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to attract new businesses and new opportunities here.
As we're growing, we also have to talk about public safety, our fire department, our police department. We're a pretty safe place to live, but how do we make sure it stays that way and that both those departments have what they need?
Absolutely. That's been a pillar of my campaign from day one. I'm the only candidate in the race that has been endorsed by both the police department and the fire department. That's not something new just because we're in the runoff. That has been the case since the general election that we've been going through. And so I'm honored to have their endorsement. And that's a promise that I have made to both departments to ensure that they have the tools and the resources that they need to do their jobs efficiently, safely, so they get to come home to their families, while at the same time, us as citizens get the level of service that we come to expect for the city of Tyler.
I wanted to talk about endorsements as well. What do you think that one says for you? And then Mr. Nix has Mr. Moran's endorsement. So what do you think that says about his campaign?
So we're focused on our campaign, and like I mentioned, it's an honor to have the endorsement of both the police department and the fire department. Both departments have worked with both of us when Mr. Nix was previously on council, and obviously with me currently on council. And so both departments know my work ethic. They know my commitment to the city of Tyler. They know my commitment to the residents of Tyler, and that's something that aligns with their visions and their values, and they know that I will show up for them day in and day out.
Okay. So June 13th is election day.
Yes.
Why should people come out for you and not for Mr. Nix?
So our campaign is one that's built on positive momentum. It's built on continuing going forward, continuing to attract new businesses, continuing to attract new employees and retain that talent here in Tyler. And we're going to keep that same vision. We're going to keep that same momentum. And I believe that vision resonates with a lot of voters here in Tyler. Former Councilman McKellar, or Councilwoman McKellar, and Councilman Wynn had a lot of those same visions and a lot of the same priorities in their campaigns. And I think that resonates with a lot of voters and people across the city. And so I'm honored to be able to continue that vision that I've had with my campaign and hopefully attract some of their supporters that they had for their campaigns into our campaign going forward.
Yeah. Last question I think I wanted to ask you is about voter turnout in these races. Whether it's you or Mr. Nix or whoever was running, why is it important for people to come out and vote in these local elections?
It's important to come out in these local elections because the voters here in town have a direct relationship and a direct point of contact with city council members, with the mayor, where you could pick up the phone and call us. You can email us, and we're right here in the same city as you. We live here, we work here, our kids go to school here just like your kids do, just like you work here and live here. And so we're right here with you along the way. The decisions that we make not only affect all the citizens here, but they affect me and my families as well. And at the end of the day, you may not be able to pick up the phone and call somebody in Washington, D.C. or in Austin, but you're able to call us directly, email us directly, and we're here to answer your phone calls and your questions.
Mr. Nix's general rhetoric is that you have been in office for the past 5 or 6 years or so why should people vote for you when his campaign is based on all these issues that we have in town?
So if an issue that he's talking about is traffic, I'm glad we have traffic here because that means people are shopping here, people are dining here, people are wanting to visit Tyler, Texas. And that's a good thing. We have a lot of growth taking place here and a lot of positive momentum, and that is because of this council. We've been ranked the second best place to live in the state of Texas, and that didn't happen with previous councils. That has just happened recently. And so we have a lot of good things going for Tyler, and that's what I want to continue to see going forward.
You've had at least some time. How are you feeling now?
Well, great. I mean, we had all the momentum coming through Election Day. We won early voting. We won Election Day. I mean, our numbers were 35% to his 23% on Election Day. So that's super strong. We're really excited about that.
Mm-hmm. Why are you running for mayor? When you go to people who talk around, like, why are you running,
Right, absolutely. Well, I'm running to make sure that just the excessive spending and, like my opponents, treating the taxpayer like they're an ATM stops. We need to be protecting our taxpayer dollars. We need to make sure that those dollars stay in our citizens' pocket and that we're not reaching in there and taking more for excessive projects. Mm-hmm. I think one of those things is growth and excess are not the same thing. Like spending excessively and then actually intentionally growing are not the same thing.
Yeah, I'll go to the last question I was going to ask then. Tyler's growing like really fast. How do we make sure that Tyler grows, but that we stay Tyler?
Right. Well, you start by not spending money you don't have to. You can do great projects and you can do them well. And you can do great projects and you can do them poorly. And you can do them poorly in your spending and you can do them poorly in your execution. And that's really what we're seeing in the square. I love the square project and its potential for the city, but it is excessive and it could be done correctly and with the taxpayers in mind.
What do you think the biggest issue facing our city is right now? What have you been hearing from people, and what's your opinion on that?
I think the biggest issue facing our city really is that the fact that my opponent has not focused over the last 5-6 years on roads, has not focused on road maintenance, has not focused on water billing issues, and those are things that are really affecting people and hurting them. Our citizens are feeling that every day in their pocketbook. And that's an issue that's gonna lead into the future. As far as growth and how to do that well, in construction, in building, in real estate, your project is successful based on how much you originally spend on it. And so when you're overspending, you're decreasing the return that those projects can have for the growth of the city and for our citizens.
Traffic. You know, I took
Yes.
I took Broadway here.
Absolutely.
You know, the city says it's getting better. Is it? Maybe a little bit. But tell me about what your traffic plan is.
So my traffic plan really is addressing things that the city of Tyler control. Broadway's a great example. Broadway is a TxDOT road. Broadway is controlled by TxDOT, all except for kind of the portion through downtown and north of Bergfeld Park. That's controlled by the city, kind of where the city's choking Broadway and gonna make traffic horrible there. I know you work at KLTV, and just a couple weeks ago, they had Broadway southbound through downtown reduced to 1 lane with cones like they're talking about doing permanently, and it was horrendous. Traffic was backed up to Gentry. It was nuts down there, and they're talking about doing that permanently. So that's the kind of stuff that can't be done. And as far as smart stuff that can be done, we have to extend our east-west relievers, roads that the city actually controls. Extending Grande, actually bringing the 364 over to Frankston. That's a little city chunk. We already have the plans. We already own the right-of-way. That can be built and relieve all of that west traffic in the loop right there that builds up near the Cascades and near Lindsay Park intersection. So Grande needs to be extended both directions. Cumberland Road needs to be widened going east and needs to be extended as well. Those are things the city can control, and those are going to be serious relievers, much like extending Shiloh over and extending Old Omen down, relieving traffic for UT Tyler and helping UT Tyler grow.
Absolutely. Want to talk about water as well. There's kind of two issues, and one is a lot of people don't talk about. We've had a lot of issues at the plants in the city.
Yes.
And the city, is spending a lot of money on that. Second part of that question is the water bills. We get the question all the time, why is my water bill so high? So how do we address that, and then how do we address these kind of systemic issues that the city seems to have at our water plants?
Right. Well, we've been talking for over a year in my campaign about the water bills, and there's some systemic issues in the water bills. One of those things is our water rate structure is poor, and it puts most of the burden on our low and no users. So our people with fixed income, people with just 1 or 2 people in the house, like it is putting a higher burden on them. That has to be fixed. That burden has to be lowered. There are fees in our water bill that don't need to be in our water bill. They should be taken care of in the general budget. I'm going to address those and make sure that we're moving those things out of this egregious billing that's going on. And as far as the water plants and our water system goes, it's a huge issue. And it's kind of the core of our Thrive Tyler plan is no longer being reactionary. So yes, they're spending money there, but they're spending money there because of problems, instead of spending money to avoid problems and spending money to where we don't have breakdowns. And that is being forward thinking, and that's making sure that we're spending money that actually helps things like growth, so that we don't have a water plant that's down for 2-3 weeks all of a sudden because we've addressed maintenance issues.
I want to talk about public safety as well. Tyler's a pretty safe place to live. We've talked about, you and Mr. Haney have talked about Station 2 a lot. Can you explain that situation and talk about what your public safety plan would be?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Fire Station number 2 is actually moving ahead as of a couple weeks ago. It came through half-cent sales tax. I voted for that. That's being addressed right now. At some point, the one up on Van Highway is going to have to be addressed, and make sure that it's redone as well. And those will really be the last 2 fire stations that need to be done. But as far as the police go, all for the police, I want to make sure that our police benefits are stronger, that we're actually addressing things. Both our police and fire's health insurance are not actually giving them screenings for cancers that they actually suffer from routinely and that are proven. And so our insurance for them and our benefits for them are actually lacking. I want to address that. And then as far as just pure public safety, our City of Tyler Police Department needs to re-engage with the state's TAG unit. It's something we're already a member of that our police force does not participate in. It's something that's going to make our county and our region safer, and our policemen need to be involved in that, and that is a leadership thing that needs to be addressed.
Okay, I want to talk about endorsements. You have Congressman Moran's endorsement.
Yeah.
Councilman Haney has the endorsement of the police and fire unions. What does your endorsement say about you, and what do you think his endorsement say about him?
I think his endorsements is something I'm not concerned about because it's something we were both strong on. I was very strong on police and fire when I was a councilman. And so the fact that he's an active councilman, I think that just speaks to that. Congressman Moran, as county judge and as a council person in Tyler, had a long record of efficiently and effectively managing taxpayer dollars and making sure that projects were done well and that they were not only executed well, but that the contract and the bidding process went well so that the taxpayers were getting the most for their money. And I think that really speaks to what that endorsement is. That endorsement is about management. That endorsement is about the future of our town and our city and the fact that we need to make these changes that are in the Thrive Tyler plan to actually head that direction in a sustainable and real way.
Last question, June 13th is election day. Why should people be going out for you and not for Mr. Haney?
Yes, if you value your tax dollars, if you value sound money management, if you want leadership that does not berate city employees and get the city sued, if you want to make sure that we're addressing things that the citizens tell us every day, like road maintenance, water quality, and water bills are being addressed, my opponent has had 5 years to listen to the citizens and address those issues, and that has not happened. So if you want those things addressed, that's why I'm here, that's why I'm running.
I think one thing that I want to add as well, turnout in these elections. They typically tend to be lower. Why is it important, no matter you or Mr. Haney, to just come out and vote in these things?
So city elections are so important. They are affecting your daily life more than actually any other election that you're participating in. You're interacting with the city from the moment you get up and brush your teeth. When you turn that water faucet on, you're interacting with the city. You're driving to work, you hit a pothole, you're interacting with the city. I fundamentally believe that a well-run city fades into the background of our citizens' life. And if you don't think about the city during the day, that means the city is running well. That's what we're here for. That's why you should vote for me. And that's why I wish turnout was better and why I think people should be more involved and lean into the mayoral and city council elections, because these people are actually affecting your daily life.